Hey, good morning, everybody. One of the things as you read the New Testament that you learn, that we all learn, is that the Apostle Paul is a very passionate guy. In fact, in yesterday's reading of chapter 5 of 2 Corinthians, we read this. It says, this means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, a new life has begun. See, in his most convincing argument, he was pleading with all of his readers, the Corinthians and with us, to trust our lives to Jesus Christ. And in today's reading, he even used the words beg. He uses the word beg. Verses 1 and 2 of chapter 6, he says, "But we beg you not to accept the marvelous gift of God's kindness and then ignore it. Indeed, the right time is now. Today is the day of salvation." Again, Jesus Christ, he says, when you see what he's done for us, when you see that he went to the cross on our behalf as an offering for our sin, to heal our relationship with God, don't let another day go by. Don't let another second go by without trusting your life, and don't ignore God's invitation. You see, Paul then goes on and he says, I want you to see how much I really believe this. I want you to see that it's true in my life. These are not just empty words. And so he was let me tell you how much I was willing to suffer, he says. So let's move on to verse 4. He says, we patiently endure troubles and hardships and calamities of every kind. We've been beaten. We've been put in prison, faced angry mobs, worked to exhaustion, endured sleepless nights, and gone without food. We prove ourselves by our purity, our understanding, our patience, our kindness, by the Holy Spirit within us, and by our sincere love. And then skipping down to verse 9, he says, we have been beaten, but we have not been killed. Our hearts ache, but we always have joy. We are poor, but we give spiritual riches to others. We own nothing, and yet we have everything. See, Paul and his friends have endured so much hardship. But at the same time, they counted it all a privilege to endure these troubles, because it meant that the good news of Jesus is getting out and people's lives are being changed. They're becoming that new person that he described. But Paul senses, as I'm afraid we do sometimes, that this good news of Jesus falls on deaf ears, and it's absolutely breaking his heart. Listen to what he says about that. He says in verse 11, he says, "Oh, dear Corinthian friends, we have spoken honestly with you, and our hearts are open to you. There is no lack of love on our part, but you have withheld your love from us. I am asking you to respond as if you were my own children. Open your hearts up to us." You see, in Paul's day, many people trusted their lives to other things, you might call them false gods. Actually, gods that are small g, that are still very much at work in our world today. Some people live for money and success. Others are living only for their own personal comfort and the so-called freedom of not having to answer to anybody. Or still others live for thrills and adventures. And there are so many other things that people live for. But the good news of God's love, the good news of Jesus begins with God's love for each of us. And he created us, and he wants the very best for each of us and for all people. But the problem is that each person we rebel against God, and we want to run our own lives. We want to be in charge. We rebel against God, and that rebellion separates us from God. And the Bible calls that sin. And Jesus Christ, though, came as God's Son into the world. He was God, but he lived a perfect life, and he came to earth and to show us how much that he really loves us by giving his life for us, by paying the price for our sin. The price that we should have paid. And he was sinless, as I said, but he paid the price for each of us by dying on the cross. And the good news is, maybe you could even call it the best news of all time, is that he wants to give each of us a free gift. It's the free gift of a relationship with him. And even more than that, it's because it's free, we can't earn it. It's forgiveness for our sin. It's an offer where God's Holy Spirit now, he says, I want to live in you. I want to lead you. I want to guide you. I want to give you that new life, a new reason to live. So hearing and trusting in the good news of Jesus is the most important response that any person can ever make. It's the one that Paul wanted from the Corinthians, and he wanted from all of his readers. And it's truly the one that Jesus wants from all people, us and everyone else. The good news became very real for me in my life. The summer before my senior year in college. It's a long story. I'd love to tell it to you sometime, but my life has been different ever since that particular day. Again, he wants to invite you to trust him too. Maybe many of you already have. Thank him if you already have trusted your life to him. But the Apostle Paul wrote in that very first verse of chapter 6, he said, today is the right time. It's the right time now. Today is the day of salvation. So Jesus invites each of us. He invites you to respond to his love by admitting that you need him and then trusting your life to his love. Trusting your life in your heart of hearts. And as best as you know how to tell him, God, I need you. And I trust what Jesus has done on the cross for me by dying on the cross. Thank you for your free gift of love. And any of us here at Light of the Desert would love to talk with you more about that. If you have any questions, we maybe could help answer them, or more than anything, we'd love to pray with you and begin a friendship with you if we don't already have one. Today's the day. Why wait? Today is the day where God is calling you to accept or renew your trust relationship with him. Have an amazing day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.